welcome to the Spiritist Society of Melbourne. We are a group of Spiritists who study the spiritualist philosophy Spiritism and come every Tuesday night to share our understanding about specific topics under the lens of Spiritism. My name is Thiago Comitri and I'm a volunteer with this group. Tonight, I'm going to share my understanding to the topic, the art of acceptance. I'm a student of this philosophy, and what I will expose is my own opinion, as well as my understanding to this topic based on my current knowledge on the subject, which might differ from other members of this group, as well as other students of this philosophy. Those who look at things from the standpoint of the spirit life understand corporeal existence at a glance. They see it as a dot in the infinite. They grasp its brevity and they tell themselves that this painful moment will soon be over. I got this from the Gospel According to Spiritism, one of the main books of this philosophy, chapter 5, 8, and 13. So it's talk about spirit life and corporeal existence. And I'll explain a little bit about what this text is talking about here in a few slides. My presentation tonight will be based on this book, Changing Attitudes, written by Francisco do Espírito Santo Neto and dictated by the Spirit Hamed. As the title says, by changing our attitudes, it proposes us to perceive life in a different perspective. And based on the Spirit's book as well, which contains the principles of Spiritism according to the teachings of spirits of high degree, transmitted through many mediums around the world, then received, coordinated, and codified by Allan Kardec. Also, the Gospel According to Spiritism, which contains the explanation of the moral maxims of Christ in concordance with Spiritism and their different circumstances and their applications to the different circumstances of life. Spiritism, this spiritualist philosophy, says that we are individuals with the main objective of progressing spiritually towards perfection, and at the same time being co-creators. So I like to talk about this in all my talks, because that's the main core of this philosophy brought to us. And I think if we understand this, we'll be in the right way to live our lives. Let's explore a little bit this text then. It talks about individuality. It says that we, each human being, we are intelligent beings. We are spirits. So, the soul is the same as the spirit, but we differentiate the soul from the spirit in these words because the soul for us is the spirit incarnated. So, because the spirit is inhabiting this body, we call that soul. Otherwise, that is just a spirit that populates the entire universe. So, this spirit has been created simple and ignorant, and for all of them has been given the same condition since they have the same start point, simple and ignorant. So based on their choices through different existence, corporeal existence, they have been building their own individuality. So imagine that two spirits have their first corporeal life, on Earth or any other world, any other planet. And based on their decisions for self-preservation and then progressing, they just take their own path. So these make them unique in the entire universe. So this journey to reach perfection is the way where we are here now, and that's the reason why we are here now as well. So we come from the invisible world, we come to this world, this material world, corporeal world, to have the experiences of human experiences, having this social life, share our life with other spirits, also incarnated, of course, and this will help us to make our choice, to understand the other, to understand how we are, to improve ourselves. But only with this interaction with hardships, the hardships that you already know. You are going through difficulties, as I am as well. So everyone has their own issues and problems, and all these experiences will sum up in our background and will help us to one day reach perfection. So, how we can do that? As I'm been describing, through many existences, corporeal existences, which we call this process as reincarnation. That's not a process that was created or a concept that was created by this philosophy, but I think it's very well explained and makes sense when we try to see the big picture and to understand what this philosophy explains. So it's a key point for us to keep in mind, reincarnation. And then at the same time being co-creators. So if everyone is in the same boat here on Earth or in many other planets that we don't have access and others that are forbidden for us, so imagine those spirits all doing their best to progress. Everyone could be collaborating to each other, but just because each of those spirits exists, and even further, just because everything just exists, that's a way to be co-creator. Because even not knowing about that, we are already collaborating with the whole thing. Like the butterflies, the bees that have their role in this world, right? Very important. Every being has its own role. So our as intelligent beings, animals, plants, everything has a role, an important role in this universe. So that's why I like to explain the beginning, and with these concepts in mind, we can continue with the art of acceptance explained by Hamed. The one who suffers is like a debtor who owns a large sum, and to whom his creditor says, "If you will pay me today even 100th part of your debt, I will release you from the rest, and you will be free. But if you don't, then I will hound you until you pay the very last cent." Would that debtor not be happier bearing all kinds of hardships in order to free himself by paying only 100th of what he owns? Instead of complaining to his creditor, would he not be thankful? That's a good deal, isn't it? But those who are suffering are blessed because they are releasing themselves from their debt. And after they have done so, they will be free. So what is this comparison of someone who is suffering with this debtor person? It is because through those existences that I just explained before, where we are coming to experience this human life, this corporeal life, to develop ourselves, to share this life, to have fun, to live, right? So we contract some debts, and that debt is with ourselves, essentially. Because, for example, imagine we do some things wrong and would like to have an opportunity to fix that. So we contract a debt in this case, and then we want to pay off that. How to do that? With a new existence. So that's why sometimes you are suffering because something that happened in your life and you would like to do differently, but that cannot be possible anymore. Let's use a simple example like someone from you loved so much and you'd like to for, to ask for forgiveness, and that person just passed away and you cannot do that anymore, and you are suffering, you are punishing yourself, you are with that anguish inside yourself. And how to repair that, how to fix that then? And you're still suffering, so you have that with yourself, right? That's why reincarnation makes sense, because we can come, we are not perfect. That happens, and happens a lot. We will do a lot of wrongdoing. And what happens is, through new existence, through new plans, our spirit in a new life can fix that, can pay that debt off. And that's the opportunity we have, for example, now with our current life. Sometimes we have some person that we don't have a good relationship, others that we, well, it's a very good friend. We are very close to some people, and just keep in mind that this is a good opportunity for us to fix and to pay off some debt from the past. However, if upon being released on the one hand, they go into debt on the other, they will never attain their freedom. If we complain in our afflictions and don't accept them with resignation and as something deserved, if we accuse God as unjust, we contract a new debt that causes the loss of the benefit that we could have gotten from suffering. That's why it's necessary to start over. Exactly as if we were to pay a creditor who has been wronging you, but then asking for the money back as a new loan. It's talking about what I just said, reincarnation. And if we have this opportunity to fix some faults or to pay some debts, and we continue doing wrong, or not concerned about doing wrong, instead of thinking of and practicing good, we are contracting new debt, as the text says here. And we are increasing that debt. And for that, we will still be suffering then, because we have a lot to pay off, a lot to fix. And the reincarnation is our opportunity to do that. It is necessary to start over. But important thing that it's told here before, if we don't accept our afflictions and our situation with resignation and as something deserved, that will be even more painful. So Hamed starts this topic, The Art of Acceptance, in his book saying, accepting our reality as it is represents a good act in our lives. Acceptance brings mental peace and lucidity, which allows us to visualize the main starting point and achieve internal transformation in a pleasant way. In Spiritism, we talk a lot about inner transformation, self-development. However, as Hamed says here, we can only modify things that we admit and clearly see in ourselves. How do you change something that you don't know that need to be changed? We need to know ourselves. And more than that, we need to accept the way we are. So many of us keep dreaming of what we could be, refusing to see what we really are. By doing so, we can waste a lot of energy carrying a set of masks as if they were permanent tools. What's the pleasure of living in this case? We are going against the main purpose of corporeal existence, which is to progress. We are hiding ourselves. Remember that I told that we come to this world, to this corporeal life, we as a spirit, invisible thing, immaterial thing, are inhabiting this body, driving this body, which is just organic matter, just matter. It has its own organic life. But one day, this life will cease because the energy and the components of this organic thing will cease naturally. And then the spirit, which is our sense, ourselves, will just release and go back to the whole universe. And then continue studying and plan our next incarnation to still continuing our progress. So the minimum we should be is act by ourselves, right? As ourselves. Because if we need to develop ourselves, we need to reach perfection, we need to improve every day. And we know that we are better every day. Like, if you are now 30, 40s, you know that if you see it to your past, you see things that we used to do, and now some of those are silly things for you. So you wouldn't do that again. So because you think differently, you got more maturity as well. So now imagine the spirit through man existence, through million lives, let's say. So it's different for it as well. So being ourselves is the way we can recognize and then accept and start to change. Remember my first slide when I said, those who look at things from the standpoint of the spiritual life understand corporeal existence at a glance? It is because they see life through an eternity perspective, and it gives them sense of justice, respect to the differences, because we are all in different levels of evolution. So something might be easy for me to deal with, but the same thing for you might be very stressful, very hard. But why this difference? And why it's easy for me? Because maybe I have already experienced that in previous lives, and I have that in myself, in my background. So that makes my decisions and my my way to see that situation differently. That's why it might be easier for me than for someone else. And then knowing that everyone is different, everyone is doing their best, and everyone is struggling with something, we should use our empathy, because we can understand, as it says here, the big picture of things, this evolution, and then we accept that the order is different, and that I also have limitations. That's an acceptance. I'm not perfect yet, as the order doesn't. So Hamed tells us that these individuals on a considerable evolution coefficient, which can make one think they already have an acceptance potential, because they learned how to respect the mechanisms of life, peacefully accumulating necessary experience for their spiritual maturity and development. So they don't think about what the others think of them. They just live their lives accepting themselves as they really are. But again, with those concepts in mind, that helps us. Spiritism, with this philosophy, just reveals us about things like where we come from, where we're going to, what we are, why we are here in this life. What about all this that happens with us? And then there are a lot of questions. A lot of answers for our questions that helps us to see life differently, and then start to accepting ourselves and the others and the world and the universe that we are inserted into. Hamed continues, when we don't face existential facts with full acceptance, we almost always create a mental structure of defense. We are led to react with denial attitudes, which are actually springs we create to soften the impact inflicted to our souls. They are considered a psychological phenomenon of natural and instinctive reaction to pain, conflicts, change, loss, and desertions. And for some time, they can actually relieve us from the impact until we can gather more strength to be able to face and accept them in the future. As it is in everything, there is a rational meaning in this defense mode that we get ourselves into. And we can try to identify these denial attitudes to help us to see what we should be accepting, because in reality, it is ours. It is us. So why to do this? Why this happening to me? And our ego and our psychological system will create that. We know this. So I don't want to feel that pain. I don't want to conflict. Oh, something new. And we are so resistant to new things, to change. So why that? That's just, as it says here, mental structure of defense. But every time that happens, and we stop and start paying attention, studying that situation, we can just realize that, oh, okay, oh, that works like that then. And we start accepting this new thing, this pain, those conflicts, and everything that start happening. For example, when someone that we love so much pass away, and we feel and we start suffering by the pain of separation, and with time we'll be we'll be managing that pain. And we accept because that's natural, right? So that's a simple example, but that applies for everything in our life. Pay attention in all your denial attitudes. Hamed adds that this defense mechanism may serve us for some time. Then it comes to stop our growth and deeply harms our earns for development and progress. That's a mechanism to help us to see what's going on with us, why we're not accepting that. But we need to analyze, to reflect about this, and then start to accepting things are different and are changing. So we don't deny things simply because we are stubborn, as some may think. We don't even lie to ourselves. Denying is not the same as lying. It is only not being aware of reality. As we have just seen before, denying attitudes is a defense mechanism to not to accept and not to be aware of our own reality. So it's a good opportunity for us to start exercising or start to practice to pay attention in our attitudes, denial attitude. So okay, what should I understand from my attitudes? And Hamed continues, self-acceptance is to accept who we are the way we are. Let's not confuse it with conformity surrender. Actually, what happens is that when we accept ourselves, the end of rivalry against ourselves is set. From then on, we stand by our reality instead of fighting it. Acceptance is a new way to face circumstances in life, so that progress power finds space instead of limits in the soul that has been restricted for so long. Because life on earth is nothing but relating with yourself and the others in the social context you live. So, Spiritism is a spiritualist philosophy that allows us to have contact with ourselves by revealing us answers for many of our questions, such as who we are, where we come from, where we are going towards, why we are here, among many other questions. This gives us the opportunity to exercise our intellectual and moral knowledge through different circumstances in order to progress spiritually. It shows us the way to see life from a different perspective, as I've been saying. So it depends on us to do this. It's just a tool. It's just showing how to do and why to do. But it depends on us. But first step is accepting ourselves, right? And Hamed says, accepting ourselves is to listen to world suggestions calmly, paying attention to the owners of the truth, accepting the people the way people are, but at the same time, respecting ourselves, being who we really are, and doing whatever we consider suitable for ourselves. That's self-awareness. Before the inner transformation to start, it's required for us to be aware of ourselves. I need to know myself. I need to accept that I am that way. I need to respect others because I know the big picture. I know everyone is here for a reason, and that reason is the same as mine, with different purpose in life, but with the main big goal, which is to progress a little bit more. And that is, as it said a few slides before, having the opportunity of sharing lives, contributing with others' evolution as well. Hamad finishes saying, before this, we conclude that acceptance is not a matter of adapting to a world of conformity and sadness about everything that happens to us, not even to bear and permit any kind of disrespect or abuse to us. It is necessary skill. It is necessary skill we must have to face reality, evaluate knowledge, and promote change, solving existential conflicts, and above all, standing on our feet to reach our intended goals. I thank Hamad for this teaching of the art of acceptance. It is not easy at all, we know, but he gave us a good light on this subject. Hope you have enjoyed. That's what I got for tonight. Thank you very much and see you next time.